So hey everybody, Jules Taylor here, and I want to talk to you about where I've been for the last 4 weeks and what I've been doing. And this is a really difficult video to make. I want to ask you to watch this and listen to what I have to say because it's not very often that I get into extremely personal stuff online. I'm going to sacrifice a lot of privacy while making this video and having this discussion. I can't really keep it short, so if you do watch this all the way, thank you. Um, and I want to just start by saying that I had some free time recently. I worked for a venue as a sound person, and there were some COVID concerns, and that led to a pause in the music. And during that time, I thought, well, I had this time on my hands, and so I should probably try and go see my mother. I should probably try and see my family in Texas. I don't get a chance to see them very often, and so I decided to book a flight down there. I was supposed to arrive on September 14th, but a couple days before my trip, I realized that on the 14th of September, a hurricane was supposed to hit South Texas and Corpus Christi, where I was headed, where my family lives. My mom, my stepdad, my sister, her wife, and their child, my nephew, Caden. Um, so, and a couple days before that as well, when I realized a hurricane was going to be hitting on that day, I got the news that my sister and my nephew had both tested positive for COVID, and so they were quarantining in the house, and everything seemed really bad about this trip at that point. Everything seemed really ominous. Like, you know, uh, not only was there a hurricane, I might be, it probably wouldn't schedule a flight to fly into that, but a hurricane hitting Corpus Christi with a family that has people in quarantine. I mean, it just seemed like it was bad news all over the place. But I decided that I was going to make the trip anyway, because I thought, well, hell, like if something happens to this kid, if something happens to, my nephew or my sister, or, Lord forbid, my mom come down with COVID or something, it's like I needed to be there to help support my family. So I decided to fly in anyway. Thankfully, the hurricane went a different direction, and so we avoided the hurricane, and I got down there, and my sister and my nephew were quarantining for a few more days, and I had kind of mentally already adjusted, and I thought I was probably going to get COVID by just even making this trip. And so I was prepared for that. I was prepared to catch COVID. I was prepared to, maybe fly into like Dallas or something and then rent a car to hit Corpus Christi from there. Um, but yeah, so anyway, so I what I was wholly unprepared for and did not see coming at all, was my mother's health failing while I was in Texas. And about the third night that I was there, uh, things really got bad. My mother was experiencing shortness of breath. She is a diabetic. She's been diabetic for most of my life. Um, but that diabetes and her health overall has resulted in some things like severe edema. Like she had a very much like had swollen extremities and was retaining excess liquid, and it seemed like that excess liquid was now interfering with her ability to breathe. And so my I should preface this by telling you that my sister and her wife are both nurses. My stepdad is a paramedic, and my mother is a paramedic. So there's medical professionals through my family. My mother is a little cavalier about medical requirements and things because her and my stepdad were both Halo flight paramedics. So what that means is when I was a kid, they were flying around in a helicopter, saving lives. So I can understand my mother's. She's not the greatest patient, and I say that in the most loving way possible, because a lot of medical professionals are really not the best patients at all. And as for my mom, I can understand. She's like, yeah, what do I was patching up amputees in the middle of a helicopter, and I totally get that. Um, but it's gotten to the point where my mother's diabetes and edema uh, was not only kind of symptomatic of kidney failure, renal failure, um, but it just kind of, it's she developed congestive heart failure is what's happened. And so that night, as she was going into a tripod stance is something that happens when people and animals can't breathe. They assume a certain posture. It's called the tripod posture, and that was very clear to me that she was not only having difficulty breathing, but the tripod position is not a good sign. And in checking her pulse oxygen, her blood oxygen rating with a little O2 sensor, thanks COVID, now everybody has one of those, right? Well, we had a couple of them, and she was in the low 80s. And I mean, anything below 93 is critical, you know? So it was late at night, and we just tried to make it through the night by giving her some albuterol treatments that came from my nephew. My nephew was receiving albuterol treatments while he was suffering from COVID at the worst points. And so we gave my mother albuterol treatments with this child's albuterol treatment mechanism that was it was shaped like a penguin. The case it comes in is shaped like an igloo. So here we are giving her these albuterol treatments, and that sustained her through the evening till we could get her to the urgent care in the morning. Uh, we, we really should have called an ambulance, but it's kind of, in American culture, it's customary to ask the person who needs an ambulance if they would like an ambulance before you call one, because it's so expensive. Um, so, so she went to the urgent care in the morning. The urgent care said, go to the emergency room. The emergency room said, we're going to admit you for 3 days. Once she was admitted, that was extended to a week. Um, I should say that my mother has been going to doctors for a few years now, and none of them have been able to figure out what's wrong with her. Doctors have described her as a medical anomaly, and they have never quite been able to figure out uh, what was compromising her health. And so all that there was a great relief felt amongst myself and my family finally having a diagnosis, because what we found out while she was there is that my mother's kidneys were only functioning at 12%. She had developed congestive heart failure, and needs she's on dialysis now. And so dialysis required surgery first to put a port in her chest, so she has to wear these button-up shirts like this, right? And she has a port in her chest now. So the deal with that is that we're not going to know for another 2.5 months or so if her kidney damage is permanent or not, if she'll need to be on dialysis permanently or if she'll need a kidney. So we don't know that. We don't know that right now. And, it's I was an EMT for a little bit, man. I got a family full of nurses. My mom was a paramedic. My stepdad was a paramedic. Dialysis is like not a good, it's not a good sign, but it's something that, people come off of dialysis. It happens. It's just a matter of finding out if your kidney damage is permanent or if the kidneys will kind of repair themselves to a certain degree. Of course, quality of life is a factor. You know, so I had to have some really hard conversations down there, man, about like, what do we do if mom dies? Like, what's going to happen to the house? What's going to happen with, what's my sister going to do down there, and so my mom she's made some plans for a funeral in advance, as people do as they get up in age. And my mom's not even that old, man. My mom is 16 years older than me. I'm 38, so that's she's 54. You know, she was born in '66, so she's young. She can recover from this stuff, and right now she's doing much better than all of us anticipated. You know, like I posted a picture of us online at PF Chang's as like a belated birthday dinner with her, because you know that was like really one of the first times that she's left the house um, to do anything else other than go to school and teach, because she's a teacher, and teachers don't get a whole lot of time off. And she typically, because of her condition, her shortness of breath, her edema, I mean, her mobility was so limited that when I was there, she could barely walk from her bedroom to the front room while maintaining her balance using the walls, and she would be out of breath and would have to sit and focus on breathing. So her mobility was limited severely, and so now that she's on dialysis, uh, she's so much better. They have taken 20 pounds of excess fluid out of her now through dialysis. Um, Her blood sugar is in check, and she is abiding by the dialysis diet. And I have to say that when I was down there, I basically, uh, I mean, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a medical professional, I haven't had a medical class in 20 years, but man, I pretty much turned into a full-time nurse while I was down there. Um, I started making green drinks for her, lots of veggies in a blender, and making sure she got adequate nutrition, because she hasn't really been eating because of her condition. It's really difficult to eat when you have 20 pounds of excess fluid in your body. And thankfully, while I was down there, she got her appetite back. She started eating, and she's doing so much better than any of us expected right now. I mean, she's doing a lot better. Um, but part of the reason, I guess the reason why I'm making this video, is because I have just found out that my mother we filed her retirement paperwork, man. She'll be retiring in December. Hopefully all the paperwork goes through and stuff. That's after the end of that of Christmas break. She should be in full retirement. I have no idea how she has been, making it to school and teaching under these conditions. I mean, a few years back, she was put into diabetic ketoacidosis because she wasn't able to urinate when she needed to at school, because the bathrooms are so far away from her classroom that they wouldn't move her classroom. They wouldn't allow her to. It was a whole thing, man. And so like her even walking to her class, or I don't know how she was doing any of this. It really is quite a mystery to me, and I'm just really thankful that the paperwork is going through for her retirement now, because she doesn't need to be doing this stuff right now, man. She's on dialysis. It's something that, and even when she was admitted to the hospital, she was asking me to bring her laptop to the hospital so that she could enter in grades for her students. I mean, that's how dedicated she is to teaching and to empowering students. I mean, even when she's like very close to death or could have died, her mind was still on, hey, I need to put grades in for these students. So the reason why I'm making this video is because I've just found out that not only can she not get disability right away, that will take some time, that will take months. I'm told it takes 2 years to really make it through the disability application process. But more so than that, she just applied for FMLA, which is Family Medical Leave of Absence. And of course, she's technically employed, but she's not going to get paid for this time that she needs to take in order to go to dialysis, in order to do what she needs to do to survive. So she has a good support system around her, but she has, my sister's still recovering from COVID, so she's not working, man. My stepdad's retired, and he's on a fixed income, and I just, they're talking about selling the house. They're talking about what they can do to save money, and all these options are just things that, like, my mom needs to be at home while she goes through these life-saving procedures, and she needs to be able to focus on getting better and going to dialysis. And like, I'm just like I man, I just bought sleeping bags for everybody, man. I mean, everybody's scraping for cash right now. Everyone's not doing well. People are unemployed, and it's really bad out there. But I just took whatever some spare money I had. And spare money. It's just money that's, like, I bought them all 0 degree sleeping bags because I don't know what's going to happen in Texas over the course of this winter as well. I mean, um, but I need, if there's, I know I have a pretty large online following between the podcast and music and general, talks of politics and online engagement, man. And I've never made a video like this before. I've not ever asked anyone online for help in such a way. Um, but my mom needs some money, man. My family needs some money so that way she can focus on getting better, and the stress and anxiety of finances in this time when she is needing to be focused on maintaining her nutrition and maintaining her dialysis process. Um, that's 3 days a week. Um, and you need that day in between to just rest because dialysis will wear you out. And my mother is worn out right now. I mean, she is doing so much better than we expected, but it is still taking a toll on her body to go through dialysis. And so I'm hoping that by reaching out to everyone in my network here, that that y'all will be kind enough or generous to give whatever you can to help my mom, so that way she can make it to dialysis and she can have a chance at living through this. And I say that, and it's really, I mean, it only really hits me when I say it out loud, you know. So here I am in New York, and I'm so far away from them right now, and I'm just worried. I'm so worried right now about their finances, about what's going to happen this winter, about my mom's kidney functioning, about whether she's getting the nutrition and stuff she needs. I mean, my sister's there to do that stuff, and I'm happy that she is. But my sister needs to work too, man, and she's not going to be able to stay out of work forever, and she's still experiencing all of those nasty side effects of COVID. That like, my sister's experiencing shortness of breath. My sister gets tunnel vision when she stands up for too long. My sister can't walk through a retail store without feeling like she's going to pass out. Um, and so it's and she's got a kid there too, and they're just trying to, like, kind of shield my nephew from all of this as well. So that's why I'm making this video, and that's why I'm telling you where I've been in Texas for the last 4 weeks. Like I said, I was wholly unprepared for uh, my mother's health failing. That was not something I anticipated, and I don't think we're ever prepared for something like that. My mother's health has not been good. Like I said, she's been called a medical anomaly by doctors, and we have a diagnosis now. It's congestive heart failure, renal failure, and she's on dialysis 3 days a week. Her spirits are up. She's happier. Her mobility is better. She's doing physical therapy now, and she's able to actually, like, go out every now and then. She's able to, like, make the walk from the car to the entrance of a restaurant to the table to sit down, and and she's doing okay. But she needs to be able to focus on getting better without the anxiety of finances in this horrific capitalist system that we all live in. And so I'm asking if anyone can donate anything at all. I mean, if everybody donated like $5, I think it would be an amazing thing, and it would take care of the problem. Um, so yeah, I really appreciate you if you've watched this so far to this point. Um, I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to what I have to say. And if you donate, if you donate anything over like let's say $150. If you donate anything over $150, come the spring and summertime, I will go out there and play a show for you. Invite all your friends, invite your family. I don't know what you guys want. You want CDs? Do you want T-shirts? Do you want a shout out on the podcast? Do you want to be on the podcast? Do you want me to write a song for you? I mean, whatever you need, send me a message. I'm going to leave a link to a PayPal underneath this, and I'll promise I'll be completely transparent about the money I received and the money that my mother receives. Everything is going to her, um, because she needs to focus on getting better, and I want my mother to live. I mean, you know, the thing is, man, is that there are people in this world. I think it's an empirical claim that there are people in this world that mean the world to you. And when people in this world that mean the world to you need something, you need to be able to try to move the world in order to help them, in order to support them. I got friends I think that would do this for me, and right now I'm doing it for my mother. I love my mom, and I want my mom around for a long time, and I want her to be able to get better. And so if you're able to help with that, you have my unending gratitude, and I will help repay that any way that I can. What do you want to show? Do you want to shout out on the podcast? Whatever I need to do. All right. I'm going to leave a link below. And I so appreciate you watching this video and listening to what I have to say. And I'm going to leave a link below. And just thank you for donating if you do. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for sharing this video. And I just thank you. And I hope you can help. And I just want my mom to be around. Thanks.